Okay, this is from Chris. I think you showed this in the video, but what would a typical individual clinic session look like?
So yeah, I've just showed some footage of what that looks like. On a Monday, it's very similar. So it's very small areas. If we need to work on certain things, we've got obviously the outside pitches we can work on. But each part of our clinics, so our individual work we do on a Monday. So if it's coach led on a Monday, it's all around what the players are, which individual's good at, but also what they need to get better at. So it's not just throw it in, there's 5 or 6 defenders, we'll just do something generic. Everything in terms of the planning goes in towards what they need to be better at or what they're good at as well, just to kind of keep grooving them and fine tuning them. So that's what a typical clinic looks like. And then the players know enough on a Wednesday and each day now what purposeful practice looks like, hopefully. So the reason why we lead on a Monday is to give them new ideas. So when it comes to a Wednesday, that the session is structured for them. Because a previous mistake I made was I did it at another club that I worked at, and I let the players go out straight away. And I went out to have a look at the session, and there was 30 footballs over the fence. It was, I'll be honest, it was a complete car crash. So then it kind of gauged my thinking of what do the players know, and how do they know what to practice, and what does practice look like to them. So for us, it was now, okay, we'll lead, we'll structure it, we'll put it together, we'll work with the players, and on a Wednesday they can either replicate what we do on a Monday, or they might use parts of it and also put together their own bits. And as the season's gone on, and as we've done more and more and more of it, the players feel more comfortable with it. And now at 1:15 this afternoon, players have got all the stuff out and they're ready to go at 1:30. So they know what it's about. The only problem we've probably got is that they don't know how to progress it on, like I said. So they can be doing the same thing and it's not a bad thing to be doing the same thing sometimes, but we've got to challenge them more. Got to make sure that they're not comfortable all the time. So that's our job then, to go in and say, okay, well, how would you progress this on to the next bit? Or how would you bolt on another bit of session that you've done that you might link in with this? And then all of a sudden they might pull in a forward. So a defender might pull a forward out of his session and come in. And then they start to match up a little bit. So that would be what a typical clinic looks like. And then in the mornings when they come in for that half an hour slot, that's their time. I don't say anything to them. Sometimes they might come in and just get on with their development programs, their gym session, and some might get the footballs out, but that's their time to practice. And 9 times out of 10, they get the footballs out, like all players do. They want to get the balls out, but I don't want them just to be smashing balls around. I want them to have a purpose of, look, if I'm a midfielder and I'm chasing a contract, if I can get a ball out and have an extra 200 touches in that half an hour, that gets me closer to someone in the first team, if that makes sense. Because they may not be having that extra 200 touches. Do you know what I'm trying to say here? It's get grooving their technique and getting them better. Our job then is to take that technique and what they do there, and then place it in a unit, and then place it into a team environment.
Yeah, that was a brilliant answer. That was really detailed. From what you're sharing, it seems like you're almost allowing the players to take as much control as possible, and then you and the coaching staff are just providing a little bit of structure and just guidance here and there, just tweaking things.
Yeah, definitely. My main work is Tuesday and Wednesday. So the in possession, out of possession, that's my main work. Obviously on Monday, I lead a group in terms of the unit work, but my detailed work and the specific work is done on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. That's when I go to work, really. That's when I'm on the grass and I'm coaching and I'm in with them. So I don't want it to be, it's my environment. I want it to be about the players as well, because ultimately they'll go different directions. They'll develop in different ways, but we've got to build an environment for them to allow to develop within that, if that makes sense. It's, you develop at your own pace. You take the ownership of what you do. If you don't, then you fall behind because someone will overtake you. If you continue to work at that level and you push yourself every day and you work every day, you'll only go one way, and that's up, and you'll only get better and better. So I like to think that's kind of what we've built. And as you can see by the footage I've shown there, it's on a Wednesday, I take a step back. I'm gone in, off you go. And if I see something that's not right, I'll step in. But I feel confident enough to let them do it. And to have one of the players leading a group and actually doing something that's structured is really good as well. So yeah, it's been really good.
That's top stuff. Do you rotate the player who leads the practices, or is that
yeah, we so basically we allow them to have freedom of what they do. So sometimes it might be 10 minutes work, they'll put something together, then someone else leads 10 minutes, then someone else does 10 minutes, and they learn themselves, you know what I mean? Or sometimes one player will go, right, I'll do this bit and do this bit, you know, and that's entirely up to them. As long as it looks realistic, as long as there's outcome, and as long as there's a lot of contact time with the ball and there's lots of repetition, that's fine, you know. And we've just got to kind of keep pushing them every day, because sometimes they can tail off, and they can get lazy sometimes with it, and that's our job then, to get them back on board.
Perfect. All right, question here from Ralib. Do you plan for any team building activity to enhance morale or have fun?
Yeah, so it's a good question, really good question. So obviously with the COVID situation, it's not allowed us to do this at the moment, but we had planned to go bike riding, we had planned to go camping for a weekend, like a team. So when I worked at my previous club, Reading, we took a group away for the weekend to like it was like an army camp really, and they had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. There was loads of team bonding exercises for them to do, and we had planned to do that this year, and a lot of like social events. But obviously with the COVID situation, it's stopped that really. So a lot of our stuff that we do in house, head of education puts a lot of stuff on for them in terms of team bonding. We have a lot of player care clinics as well. We're really big on that. So that kind of brings players together. Lots of guest speakers that come in and speak to the players as well. So it's a really good question, because that's something probably that I would like to add to the program as well. So hopefully when the restrictions ease and we can get back to some kind of normality, that's the next bit I'd like to probably bolt onto there. Because sometimes, you know, as players and coaches, players get sick and tired of hearing the same voice every day, I guess.
Definitely. Okay, brilliant. Question from Bev. Going back to the packing points. Are the packing points linked to positions at all?
Yeah. So like I said, it's very much built around the individual, but also how they use that within the team. So if I go back to the previous presentation, the wide players would be how many dribbles they can complete by beating players. So if I beat, let's just say if I was a left winger and I beat a left back, I would get 4 points because I've eliminated the back four. So it's all specifically built to the individual, not just passing as you've seen on the screen there. So a lot of it was around vertical passing, diagonal passing. It can be tailored to how you want to do it. So we have a flip side of it as well, out of possession. Mm-hmm. So if we get split between a midfield four, we lose points. So you win points and you lose points as well. So there is kind of rationale, and there is a coming together. If I lose possession, I lose a point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, so there is kind of punishments for it. I see punishments, probably the wrong words. There's implications of if I lose possession of the ball, or if we get played in behind and it eliminates our back four, we lose the same amount of points as what we'd get if we penetrated the back four.
Sure, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I guess following on from that, would you have data analysts to compile these analytics, or would it be extra coding for your analysis or to your analysis as a coach?
We're quite fortunate where we are. I'll be honest, in the first lockdown, we lost a lot of really good staff through redundancy. And we were just starting to piece together a really good team off the pitch that I was really happy with. So I lost my head of goalkeeping. I lost my assistant coach. I lost my S&C coach.
Wow.
I lost my head of analysis. So it was really difficult kind of replanning. We've just got people back in the building now, and we're starting to restructure and get it together again. But I'm still really fortunate that I've got really two analysts that come in on a match day. So not just one that codes the game. We've got someone that assists with him, who's learning, which is good. So he's more of an intern. So we've got one that codes and one that does the data packing. So it's been really good that we get both sides of it. So we've been really fortunate on that side of it, because most teams only carry one analysis with them to a game. So we've been really fortunate on that side that we can actually produce this information for the players. And like I said, this data packing stuff it's not set in stone at the moment. It's an ongoing process. So this has been 6 to 8 months in the process of it. And it was an idea that, like I said, that I've got off it. So it's not something I've just gone crashing in with. I've had to research it, put it together. And it's still not a finished article at the moment. We've still probably got another 6 months of it to get it to where we want it to be. So it actually has a real purposeful impact on the players and meaningful impact on the players as well.
Yeah. What are some of the early signs of impact that you've seen since you've implemented it?
So if I go back to someone like a Josh Bailey that you've seen in that clip there, the skipper, he's been a lot more purposeful with his play. So when I went in and looked at him, he was very safe with what he did. He was good in possession, but he wasn't. We want midfielders to be brave in possession, not just keep the ball for the sake of it. So a lot of the individual work was with him on playing forwards, the detail of pass that he uses to play forwards, and the methods of what he may do, and proving him on that side, but also what impact he has on the game by doing that. Yeah. So by that I mean linking the data packing to him. How many times does he play through a midfield three with purpose? So all of a sudden, then you're getting end product with it. He actually sees that there's a purpose to what he's doing. He's not just nice and safe. He has to be better than the next person. Yeah. So by him, he needs to be braver. So to watch him grow now and get better over the last 14 months, 15 months, just bolting that onto it as well, to what he does in the week and giving him some kind of feedback, not just individually on a screen that he feeds back to me, that he's having an impact on his development by what he sees, but also there's data to back that up, that he's actually having an impact on the game with what he's doing and what's being asked of him and what he needs to do better. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Okay. I guess you've answered this, but here we go. Bev asks again, do you have a different model for the players in more forward positions?
With regards to what?
Yeah, I don't. It's Bev's question, so we'll see.
If you can just give me a little bit more substance in that, I'll try and answer that for you.
Okay, we've had a lot of thank yous to you, Lee. So again, I'll echo that. Thank you again for that, Lee. Okay, question from Eli. I'm a scout and local coach in Africa. A lot of great players. Okay, just asking for a little shout out there. Thanks for that, Eli. Okay, question. Guys, if you could put your name in there when you ask a question, that'd be great. Do your Tuesday, Thursday sessions scaffold from unopposed technique, opposed exercises, tactical exercises, or game? Or do you start with opposed exercises and get into positional exercises early? Is there a progression of spacing, numbers, etc.? It's a good question.
Really good question. Really good question. And long as well. My God, some thoughts gone into that. So I probably could have shown this in my presentation and didn't put it on. So when we do the main bulk of our technical and tactical work, a lot of it, my work, is what I got from my time working at Bournemouth and watching the first team staff work and seeing how detailed they were in terms of how they link sessions that start off maybe with some individual work that link into a unit that go into a game. So for me, in my practices, it varies from time to time. So I might start with, we could start with technical work, and then it goes into a structured game that links to what the philosophy is. Sometimes it will be individual work. So it might be, I get staff to stand on different stations with balls, and it might be, I might pass out to the winger who needs to work on his 1v1 against the left back. So that would be the start of the practice. And all of a sudden it might go into a 4v4. So it might be a midfielder and a front three against a back four. So there's loads of different elements, and it might be then some kind of unopposed combination to score. And then it might go into like an 8v8 game. So there's always different, it's hard to explain it unless you see it, but there's always thought process behind the planning. So it's one of them where I look at what needs the individual needs within it, what the units need within it, and then how can I put that into a game straight away. So it might start different stations. There might be 4 or 5 different phases to the session in this small bit, and then it goes into a game for 5 minutes, and then we break, and then we restart again. And then the second bit might go out to the left-hand side. So it works down both sides of the pitch. And then out of possession, it might be, so if I give you an instant or an example, it might be, so last week I had to work on defenders turning and getting the ball played behind them. So the first bit was unopposed, me playing the ball over the top of them and the back four dropping off and recycling it. And then it was like a phase of play out into midfield to a goal. And all of a sudden then they had to recover and the ball was played straight in. So I might drop another ball in somewhere, and the attacking team go after him and they play 8v8 towards goal. So there's always elements of what we do, but there's always game structure within it as well. So then I might stop the game, structure little bits, put a technical detail into an individual or a unit or a team, and then I'll let them play again. But we might extend it. So a Wednesday is quite a big day for us. So it's longer periods of work.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 minutes work. We try and get a high intensity as well. So it's a really good question. You know, it's not kind of set in stone every day. It's how I create with my staff, how we create these sessions for the players. So yeah, ideally what I probably should have done in my presentation is put a little bit up of how I do that and hopefully the detail that I go into. But really good question. Really good question.
Thanks for the answer. Question from Vralib. Do you follow the career development of players and keep in contact with them once they move on?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm still in contact with a lot of players that I've worked with, which I think is really good. You know what I mean, it's really healthy. We just had one that was released last year, a second-year scholar from the club. He rang me 3 weeks ago. He broke his leg just before the first lockdown. He's just about to go to university, and he rang me just for some advice because he was feeling low, you know, and he was asking kind of what do I need to do next, you know, and I feel a little bit low because my friends are kicking on a little bit now in terms of their development, and I'm stuck at home and I can't really do anything. And you know, sometimes even that conversation away from football, it doesn't have to be about football, just about their life and you know, what they're doing is equally as important as what they're doing as a player. Yeah, of course, you know, it's players that I know that I've played a small part in their development, you know, that are playing in the Football League, a couple are playing in the Premier League, you know, and the vast majority of players that I work with have had careers in the game, you know. For us, at whatever level, you know, I class success is not just who makes it in the first team and goes on and has a career. I class success is that they stay in the game at some kind of level, you know, and that's what I class as success, that they stay and love the game, because that's what ultimately it's about. It's the love of the game for the players. And, you know, if they stay and have a career at some capacity and you've played a small part in it, then great. So, yeah, I always follow the players that I've worked with. And I'm always there at the end of the phone for any of the players that need any advice on anything, you know, it's not just football. So, yeah, brilliant question. Thank you.
Good stuff. Okay. All right. So Bev has given us the second part of the question. So it's in reference to data packing. So I'll just read the question once again, just for everyone. So do you have a different model for the players in more forward positions in reference to the data packing?
So yeah, excellent question. So like I said, we're not fully done with it at the moment. So it's not a kind of finished article. So it's a really good question, because that's something that we've looked at going forwards. How we do it within the units. So what defenders do. So it's kind of like a mini data packing process for defenders, midfielders and forwards. So I'll be open and honest here that we probably haven't got something in place for specific players higher at the pitch, as in that within their units. So that's the next probably bit that we'll kind of bolt onto that. So yeah, what that will look like, I can't honestly say at this moment in time, but you know, once we probably finish the season and sit down as a staff, that's when we really get into the depths of it and what it'll look like as a whole, probably at the start of next season. So, you know, if anybody wants to contact me later on down the line, hopefully I can have a bit more information of what that may look like.
Super. Excellent. All right. I think we'll wrap this up then. So Lee, thank you so much for your detailed presentation, all the examples and the insights. Been really brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, spending your afternoon with us and your questions. Hope you've gained something from that you can take away and use. And yeah, we'll see you again next time. So again, Lee, I just want to leave the final word with you.
Pleasure.
Thanks again.
No, thank you for everybody that's attended this, and thank you for the invite. It's been really good to share what we do. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of great work that goes on at a lot of clubs. Do you know what I mean? And this is just a small insight to what we do. And yeah, I can only thank you for having me on. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you've all got a takeaway with it. And you know, if there's any information or anything you want, or any questions that you didn't ask or remember, then feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to answer them questions.
Superb. Excellent. Thank you, Lee. Guys, thank you.
No problems. Thank you very much.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.